Chat, since apparently Free Comic Book Day is coming up, like next week, this is a segment on bizarre and curious comic, I don't know, history. As you can see here, there's some kind of interesting covers. But thank you to Joey and Nightstar, Mad Clown, Mr. Flipnote, and Yoshitora for their contributions as well. I'm not really the biggest comic book person, but I know there's some infamous ones, and obviously we had to live through comic book movie hell for the past 16 or so years. So it might be interesting to see what other stuff can be, used by movie studios. We've run out of all the big ones, so who knows? Maybe they need to make Pinky and the Brain with stuffed bras movie next. Comic books are a truly unique form of media. I feel like nothing captures just how downright bizarre and surreal comics can be, aside from the comics themselves. However, there's a deep history behind the comic book industry involving censorship, pushing back against it, social issues, and so much more. Join us on a journey as we explore comic history, some serious, some weird, as well as strange covers, bizarre characters, and thrilling tales, and much, much more. Some interesting covers already. Seduction of the Innocent. This is not a comic book. This is a book of poorly done and sometimes fabricated research by Frederick Wartime. Pictured here, published 1954. This book, as well as a congressional inquiry, were responsible for the comic book moral panic and creation of the Comics Code Authority. In his book, Wartime alleged that comic books featured violent and graphic content along with sex and drugs. He alleged that sometimes it was hidden, oftentimes it was blatant, and that these comics encouraged delinquent behaviors in kids. Some of the claims were baseless and ridiculed, such as Batman and Robin being a gay couple or Superman being both un-American and fascist. However, some of Warthime's claims were based in truth. That Batman and Robin thing, that persisted for years and years. However, some of Warthime's claims were based in truth. He took aim at crime and horror comics, two popular genres in the golden age of comics, which is 1938 to 1956, and pointed to the gruesome imagery featured in these. He also claimed that Wonder Woman had a bondage subtext, which is actually true and was confirmed by one of her creators. Wartime would testify in front of the Senate Subcommittee on Juvenile Delinquency, comparing the comic book industry to Adolf Hitler. That fucking guy again. A fucking jerk. In 1954, the Comic Magazine Association of America, CMAA, was formed in response to the moral panic surrounding comic books. CCA was also formed in 54 by Charles F. Murphy, pictured here, a juvenile delinquency specialist and head of the CMAA. The code was based on the mostly unenforced code created by the Association of Comics Magazine Publishers from 1948, which itself was based on the 1940 Hollywood Production Code. The CCA wasn't the law and was entirely voluntary, though most comics were required to have a seal to be published. Some famous books like Watchmen were not published with a seal. Publishers such as DC, Marvel, and Archie would submit a title for review, and then if it passed, it would get a seal that could be published. Most distributors refused to carry comics without a seal, even though CCA had no legal authority. Two major publishers, Dell Comics and Gold Key Comics, were notable for not displaying the seal. However, their licensors included Walt Disney and other producers of children's TV shows, so their works were under higher scrutiny. The CCA dominated the Silver Age of comics, 1956 to 1970, because the code prevented many topics appearing in stories. Certain genres, like the aforementioned crime and horror comics, were unable to be sold at most shops. Thanks to this, superhero comics, which were in a decline since World War II, began to flourish once more. So you can see on the bottom right there, before and after. Uh-oh, the one on the left is too scary. It might incite violence. The entire code is too long for this pack, but A few of the rules are as follows. No comic magazine shall use the words horror or terror in its title. Profanity, obscenity, smut, vulgarity, or words of symbols which have acquired undesirable meanings are forbidden. Policemen, judges, government officials, and respected institutions shall never be presented in such a way as to create disrespect for established authority. Scenes dealing with or instruments associated with walking dead, torture, vampires, vampirism, ghouls, cannibalism, and werewolfism are prohibited. This is such shit. That's ass. Like, come on. It's just fucking horror. The movies were already... whatever. Females shall be drawn realistically without exaggeration of any physical qualities. Okay, well, it turns out people exist of all shapes and sizes. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, okay, well, big ass and titty, there's no such thing. Don't draw that. For females. Ridiculous. These days. Well, you know what, though? It's funny because what goes around comes back around eventually, and it kind of... You know, you see that. Still, you see complaints about that. It's funny. These days, Wortham's research has been disproved, and Marvel and DC haven't used since the CCA seal since 2001 and 2011, respectively. Archie would be the last publisher to drop the code a day after DC, rendering it forever defunct. The CCA will be a recurring theme in tonight's pack. I wonder what Wortham would think if he saw Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose. Click to view. Tamest cover I could find in that series. This is the tamest cover that could be found in this series. Okay, listen. There's enhancements that exist, and sometimes it's not enhancements. Hello, streamer. Please react to the images in reaction folder 1. Thank you. Something must have spilled in there inside of Peter's room. It's seeping out from underneath this door. If you'll bring me a mop, I'll... Oh dear. As soon as I touched it, look what happened. It got sticky. Okay. I will react to the image. Oh! This is the Joker's boners. This is famous.
You've probably committed some boners in your time. Most everybody has. History is full of mistakes of man, some of which never could be written off, some of which boomeranged into deeds of good fortune, etc., etc., etc. In addition, Reedy's a special boner just for Batman.
Yeah, there's the collection of great boners in history, of course.
So they laugh at my boner, will they? I'll show them. I'll show them how many boners the Joker can make.
Chortle at Joker's boner.
This emphasis on boners has given me an idea for a new adventure in crime. Gotham City will rue the day it mentioned the word boner.
If only they knew that the word boner would mean something a little different later on. For those that don't know, and there might be some people that genuinely don't know, a boner was just a mistake. It will take the great boners of all time, or I will, and turn them into crimes. See this picture? It shows a big boner of modern vintage. They still could be... Listen, chat, let's bring it back. When I fuck up in a video game, I'm going to say that it was a big boner. Boner. Joker... Oh, let's see. Stung by his boner, Joker lashes back. First boner. Chat, they went hard with the boner in this comic. Batman's greatest boner. So now they're just writing up like articles about fucking Joker boners, Batman boners, who's got the biggest boner. And the thing is, if you have a big boner in this world, in this time, that's bad. So now they're on the fucking radio, trying to deliver a radio program, I think. It's the Joker using his powerful transmitter to drown out all stations. We might be able to trace his sending beam right to his hideout. Yeah, they're just listening to Joker talk about, like, boner crimes. Be careful about them boner crimes. Telling you. What does he mean, Bruce? How can he force you into a boner? I don't know. But whatever it is, it isn't good. That's for sure.
What? How did you find my new hideout? I took such pains to conceal it.
You committed a boner, Joker. You were so busy forcing me into a boner, you forgot you were committing one yourself. That's my attempt at Adam West. He really blundered this time. What's that substance? And then the Joker had the boner of the year, which is nice. This is rich. Batman is the laughingstock of Gotham. Batman pulls boner at own lecture. We have so much in common. Live, rail, laugh, nude is my motto too. Oh, that was backward, huh? Say, what happens if you say race car or damn it, I'm mad, or Eva, can I stab bats in a cave? You're insane, yes, but hopefully our kids would just get my looks and your sparkling personality. The fuck is this? Oh my god. What the fuck?
Well, what have we here?
I think you're pregnant.
I think you're right. Do we have a good OBGYN we use?
Chat, I didn't know Joker ever got pregnant. I'm so proud of him. Oh my god. A flaming skull man is delivering Joker's baby. Dr. Phosphorus? Is it gonna hurt, Doc? I don't even know where the baby is going to come out from down here, so probably. Let's begin to push. I pushed him, Director Bones didn't do anything. It's Dr. Phosphorus. I might prefer having Director Bones deliver my baby. Do you have his number, or... And then he's just barfing. Does he deliver it from his pee hole? Oh my god. Chat, what the fuck comic is this? That's the Joker's son? Why is he like an adult baby man? That's it, there's no more context. Harley Quinn fartacular, silent but deadly. In this issue, farts. That was someone's awakening. Someone was really, really into this particular comic. There we go. All quiet on the southern front. And then farts. Where's this movie? Where's Margot Robbie making this movie? Apparently the Joker pregnancy was just 2 years ago. Wow. Streamer has reacted. That was crazy. Knights of Horror was a fetish comic series created in '54 by pseudonym, right? Pseudonymous. That's weird, that word. I've never had to read that out loud. Pseudonymous, right? Because it wouldn't be pseudonymous. Pseudonymous sounds dumb. Pseudonymous makes sense. Huh. Anyway, the writer is Clancy, an anonymous artist who would later be revealed as famous Superman artist Joe Shuster, pictured here. Knights of Horror, not pictured here. Too spicy. Could only be found in Times Square adult bookstores and lasted 16 issues. Aside from the art, it's well known for being a piece of evidence in the trial of the Brooklyn Thrill Killers. Jack Kozlov, pictured here, was a teenager with a Hitler mustache who had a near-genius IQ, graduated high school in 3 years, taught himself German, was a voracious reader of Nietzsche and Mein Kampf, believed vagrants were parasites in society, known as the Boy Hitler of Flatbush Avenue. Kozlow, 17 at the time, led the gang pictured here, consisting of Melvin Mittman, Jerome Lieberman, Robert Trachtenberg. They wandered Brooklyn in search of women to flog and homeless to beat up. In fact, Mittman liked to use bums for punching bags to see how hard he could hit them. So this isn't what I expected after the Harley Quinn farting and Joker pregnancy. But anyway, Willard Mentor, 34, was sleeping off a drinking binge in George Washington Monument Park when he was murdered by the gang. Case against Lieberman was dismissed for lack of evidence. Trachtenberg took the plea deal and flipped for prosecution, and Kozlow and Mittman, who bragged about the murder, were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Mostly forgotten now, their crimes shocked the nation at the time. Public knew who the killers were and how the crimes were committed. But what they didn't know was why 4 seemingly normal teenage boys from Brooklyn would have committed these heinous crimes in the first place. However, one man had the answer. They look like adults. Enter Dr. Frederick Wortham, unfortunately pictured here again. Having served as the senior psychiatrist for the Department of Hospitals in New York City, as well as a director at mental hygiene clinics in Bellevue Hospital and Queens Hospital Center, he was originally called by the judge to determine whether Kozlow was legally insane or fit to stand trial. He was then permitted to examine Kozlow, who claimed to be an addict of horror comics. Kozlow would inform the doctor that he purchased a whip and cloak through ads from a book, and that Mittman liked crime comics, like Superman. Wortham showed Kozlow 14 issues of Knights of Horror, and asked if these were the kinds of books he read. Kozlow said yes, and Wortham believed that Knights of Horror in particular was the reason these boys murdered someone. In volumes 5 and 7 of the books, there's a scene where the victim kissed the attacker's feet. Kozlow told Wortham that they made one of their victims kiss their feet in between beatings. Wortham believed they got the idea from this book, even though it's unlikely. The boys were from Brooklyn, and Knights of Horror was only sold in Times Square. It's unlikely they would have been able to go to a store selling it or have someone buy it for them. Even if they did get to Times Square, they'd still face another hurdle, as the books were behind the counter and sold to adults only. No witnesses were ever produced who could confirm that the books were sold to these boys. Kozlow never said that he specifically read Knights of Horror either, only admitted to reading it after Wortham showed him copies of the book. Despite Kozlow admitting to being a fan of Mann, Spinoza, Nietzsche, and Mein Kampf, Wortham blamed comic books for the boys' violence, stating all the horrible details of the beating, kicking, and whipping committed by the thrill killers are to be found in most of the comic books. Wortham also said, "I wish to emphatically point out that such crimes did not exist before this comic book era." Oh yeah, famously, humanity was totally fucking violence-free before comic books. What a bitch. Kozlow admitted to having read Wortham's Reader's Digest article about comics, and while he wasn't told Wortham's identity, it's entirely possible that he recognized Wortham and lied to him just to mess with him. It's also possible he manipulated Wortham so he could emulate his idol, Adolf Hitler, and create a book-banning movement. But why would Shuster create smut? Superman was created in 1938. But by 1954, Joe Shuster faced some troubles. He wasn't drawing Superman. He sued to get the rights to Superboy and Superman back. He only won the former. He wasn't able to be credited as one of Superman's creators, and his new book, Funny Man, flopped. On top of that, his eyesight was failing. Unable to find any work, you can see why he'd work uncredited drawing smut. It's believed that Shuster drew for other adult publications, bottom left picture, at that time as well. It wasn't until 1989 that comic historian Craig Yo found Knights of Horror at a rare book sale. He recognized the art style because the characters looked as if Lex Luthor, Superman, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and others were all performing these lewd acts. For example, the images below appear to depict Superman getting whipped and Jimmy Olsen and Lucy Lane smoking pot. Perhaps Shuster wanted to keep drawing the characters he loved, while also getting back at DC for greatly wronging him. Yo took the book to someone at DC Comics who immediately identified it as Shuster's work. While we don't know why Shuster did it, one thing is for sure. This was some of his best work. It was fine pen and ink work embellished by lithographic pencil. There were no assistants. This is just Shuster, and despite his failing eyesight, it was amazing. This was his true calling, his true passion. In 1975, DC Comics finally agreed to pay Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel a lifelong pension of $25,000 a year, plus fully paid medical benefits and a bonus each year. Their pension would later increase to $80,000, and they could finally be credited as the creators of Superman again. Wow. So, okay, well that is a bit of a tonal whiplash, but the fucking mustache man just keeps showing up on the stream tonight. There he is again in the bottom left. Life really is stranger than fiction, isn't it? The artist behind Wortham's most hated books, Superman and Knights of Horror, were one and the same. So let's take a look at these next images. So here's Captain America beating the shit out of Hitler. This reminds me, I had a Mario thing. Oh, man, what is it? This is a classic. I've seen this before. After 9/11, there was fan art that was submitted to a magazine in like Brazil or something. I might be getting that wrong. And it was Mario defeating Osama bin Laden. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's just a weird... I don't know. Don't worry about it. All-Star Comics. This is our enemy. Also, you know, Disney made some, you know, propaganda. Well, not propaganda. I guess it was, but it was anti, you know, Hitler shit. And, I mean, this was just what was happening in the 40s. There was the Donald Duck one. Warner Brothers did it. Batman anniversary issue. War savings bonds and stamps. Keep them rolling. This is how they rallied the troops. America's favorite adventure strip character. Wait. Is that Himmler? Oh my god. That's fucking oh, Goebbels. Goebel? Yeah. I'd like to land a strictly non-Aryan sock on your jaw, but there's no time for that. You're coming with me while I visit a certain pal of yours. Put me down, you're hurting me. Fucking crazy. That's nuts. I've never seen that before. All-Star Comics. Food for starving patriots. That's funny. Sorry, it's just like... Yeah, it's just everything that was happening in the war just became part of comic book. I mean, this still, in so many different ways, that even some we don't fully realize, this kind of stuff is still kind of happening. It reflects culture. You know, and it's pop culture. It's just really, again, watching The Boys TV show, on a side note, speaking of comics, I never read The Boys, but I read Preacher, which, you know, the 90s sensibility of The Boys, or I guess I was into the 2000s, and his writing style. I mean, they changed it up for the show, but season 1, I feel, is a pretty different beast from where it's at now, and it became blatant, and some of it made sense, and some of it's real dumb, but even as blatant as it is, it still isn't enough for some people. Like, they want it more blatant. But yeah, I mean, it's very That's one of those things where it just becomes very, very obvious what they're doing. Anyway, the American Red Cross needs your support. Give generously. I wonder what the subtext is there. Keep the American eagle flying. Buy war bonds and stamps. Keep those bullets flying. Keep on buying war bonds and stamps. Right on the cover. Like, Batman number 15. That's just right on the cover. I didn't know it was, like, that many. So anyway, Big Wheel. Real name Jackson Wheel. Formerly Axel Wheel. Yeah. Let's see. He was in 1978 Amazing Spider-Man. Jackson Wheel left a good job in the city working for the man every night and day. I'm kidding. He was a corrupt businessman who embezzled money from his company. He hired Rocket Racer to steal incriminating documents. When Racer delivered them, he demanded $10,000 for the worst piece of evidence. Wheel went to the Tinkerer for a weapon that could take on the Rocket Racer, so Tinkerer built him a big wheel. In his first fight with Spider-Man, Wheel couldn't stop in time, so he drove off the side of a building into the Hudson River where Wheel and Wheel were presumed lost. However, the big wheel was watertight and Wheel would survive and go on to appear again. The word wheel doesn't sound real anymore, but this guy sucks. Maybe, nude Spider-Man movie will have the Wheelman. At some point, Wheel found work as a security guard at the bar called the Rusty Nail. Man, what a character. Big Wheel 2 from Freak Comic Book Day 2018. So he came back. Amazing Spider-Man Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. Big Wheel was confronted and defeated by Spider-Man when he teamed up with Boomerang, Rhino, and New Electro. Fun fact, there are other versions of this character in other forms of media. There's even a Big Wheel, but not someone using the alias. In the video game Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales... Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. In the video game Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, this might not be the end of these wheel-based villains. There's jokes here, too. That's all I've got on this guy. What can I say? Big Wheel, keep on turning. Proud Mary, keep on burning. But you know what would be great to mention? Free Comic Book Day is on the first Saturday of May every year. Let's see. Danny the Street. So, what the fuck is this? He is a sentient street who's able to place himself anywhere around the world. He was in Doom Patrol Volume 2. Danny lets the people tossed out by society have a place to rest. He entertains them with drag shows in various shops. Danny cross-dresses and enjoys expressing himself by putting on pink frilly awnings or curtains on gun stores and the like. He's a street. Danny was targeted by the mysterious governmental organization called the Men from Nowhere for being too abnormal. He was rescued by the Doom Patrol, who decided to move into Danny not long after the attack and used him as their headquarters. He was later kidnapped by Mr. Nobody and the Brotherhood of Dada. They simply wanted him to take them somewhere else, and he happily complied. Danny thought the Brotherhood of Dada was perfectly fine. Danny would be greatly damaged when Dorothy Spinner of the Doom Patrol accidentally unleashed the monstrous Candlemaker, but Danny endured the attack and was able to grow into Danny the World. Some members of the Doom Patrol, like Crazy Jane and Rebus, chose to continue living in Danny the World, but the members Dorothy and Robot Man opted to move out and live in the real world. What the fuck is Grant Morrison on? I've read... What else did he do? He did, No, aside from drugs. The Invisibles? I feel like... Well, Doom Patrol, obviously. Let's see. Animal Man? Goon Patrol. I know I read something from Grant Morrison. I just want to know what it is. Let's see. Just going through the... There's a lot. There's like a lot. Movies and shows. No. I don't know. I can't find it. Danny the Street current version. Oh, wait. Did I miss something? Hang on. Danny was deconstructed by the gentrifiers and was left only as Danny the Brick. This brick is being protected by Crazy Jane. Danny the Street and Crazy Jane had recently rejoined Doom Patrol. I see. So, then there's also this. In 2011, the entire line of DC characters was relaunched in an event that was known as the New 52. In this continuity, Danny became stronger over time, eventually becoming an otherworldly amusement park known as Dannyland. What the fuck? An alien corporation known as Vectra was aware of Danny's existence and powers. They attempted to detain and force them to produce an endless supply of commodities, and that corporation could resell as fast as a fast food chain. Danny called for help from the Doom Patrol so they could protect them. Oh. Yeah, real weird. Shakedown Road. So this is in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, number 18. The USA isn't the only country that gets a road-based comic character. In JoJo Part 8, and per the JoJo Wiki, Shakedown Road is a curved 150-meter car-free street that connects to Hasekura High School in Morio City, Japan. Along the street's path are ginkgo biloba trees which litter the street. A pet store, an osen, several residential houses. Hang on, making the music a little louder for this one. As its name suggests, people passing through Shakedown Road are financially extorted by its residents, who all manage to take advantage of the phenomenon caused by the stand les foulis. Of course, I know how to say that. However, none of the residents possess a stand themselves and are thus unaware of the actual nature of the phenomenon. The secret to the neighborhood's unique phenomenon is that since the stand is hiding underneath the leaves, anything which touches them are moved at imperceptibly fast speeds along them, consciously directed at those aware of its nature, either to extort and frame people or sneakily move items. However, the phenomenon can be countered by intercepting the path through stopping it. What the fuck am I reading? Residents prefer to keep the truth behind Shakedown Road's phenomenon a secret, with the open knowledge that anyone unaware is free game to be extorted by those who do know. The street's extorting infamy is known across Morio, and even local police aware of the nature of the secret in some form. Weird. Sentient fucking streets and blocks and... Ghostbusters! So this is Vulture, from Amazing Spider-Man 2. This I know, I mean, yeah. He was in the Spider-Man movie as Michael Keaton. So this is a very famous Spider-Man villain. I'm sure most of Chet is familiar with this old bald furry with a hideout in Staten Island. I'm talking about the Vulture, of course. I don't have any weird facts or anything, but I was reading old Spider-Man comics and saw Vulture had a hideout in Staten Island, and I knew what I had to do. Staten Island. Wait, what? Staten Island is the third largest in area and least populated of New York City's boroughs. A suburban area, separated from the rest of the city by Upper and Lower New York bays. It is next to New Jersey, and it is linked to Manhattan via the Staten Island Ferry and Brooklyn via the Verrazano Bridge. With docks and shipping facilities located on the north and northeastern shores, Staten Island's industrial activities included oil refining, chemical production, oh, that explains a lot, communication equipment, and soap. That's apparently the Marvel Comics wiki on Staten Island. Considered the cheapest ride in New York with the best views every day in any weather, it runs from the southern tip of Manhattan to St. George back and forth. So one thing. I don't know if the Staten Island Ferry used to be white, but now it's orange, at least, or my whole life it has been. I will add, there are lots of people that ride the ferry, and they have to have people explain to them, you cannot stay on the ferry. You have to leave the ferry and go to Staten Island. They don't want to. Like, seriously, so many ferry rides have I seen people, like, arguing, like, I just stay on ferry, no? And they're like, no. You have to get off, and then get back on the next one. So... Now hang on a minute. Wait a second. So this is a lot of reading. In fact, I need to do a little bit of... Yeah. Barack Obama. Jesus. The Wall? Oh, okay. Yeah, I may be running out of steam for this much reading. This is a lot of reading. Go back to Obama? I don't know if I want to. Dog welder is nuts? Well, hang on a minute. Let me read this one. In the Bronze Age, darker stories and stories about modern social issues such as racism performed well. This would pave the way for modern age of comics. It's even darker, more serious stories like Watchmen. In Green Lantern 78, widely considered to mark the end of the Silver Age, Green Lantern is reprimanded by a black man believed to be an expression of frustration. This isn't what we normally talk about on Sunday stream. We try to not talk about this specifically, actually, so we can all have a good time. But this is historical, and comics reflect real life, goddammit, by the writers because of how inaccurately comics presented black people up until this point. Drugs were a big focus of this era as well. Green Goblin Reborn is a 1971 story arc in Amazing Spider-Man 96 to 98, written by Stan Lee and illustrated by Gil Kane. It was the first comic from a major publisher to be published without the CCA seal, something that wasn't done since 1954. The CCA's rules prohibited showing drugs in any way, including condemning them. They refused to approve the story. Marvel published it anyway, and retailers carried it. In this story, Spider-Man sees a boy high on drugs jump off a rooftop trying to fly. Spider-Man saves the boy, and police help him. Later, Peter meets up with Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, Mary Jane, and Randy Robertson at a theater where MJ is to perform in a play. Randy had seen the boy, so he started an argument with Norman, saying that the wealthy businessman should use his influence to fight drug abuse. Norman, a previous owner of this theater, had the impulse to enter a locked room where he found hidden Green Goblin equipment. Oh, well, that's the worst thing you could do, aside from drugs. With his split personality emerging, he regained his goblin memories. Spider-Man and Green Goblin fight, the latter winning. Peter returned to his apartment where his roommate Harry was bitter because he thought Peter was flirting with Mary Jane. Harry took pills, went to sleep. The next day when he saw Mary Jane spending time with Peter, a drug dealer noticed his despair and used it to sell him drugs. When trying to track down Norman, Peter returned to his apartment to find that Harry had overdosed and the Green Goblin was there. Peter showed a Goblin that Harry was overdosing, and the Goblin fled while memories of Norman's life flooded back to him. Peter got Harry to the hospital. The drug dealer approached Peter and asked him where Harry was. So Peter beat him up, of course, as well as his friends J. Jonah Jameson was afraid to report on Harry's overdose because of Norman's influence. But a scolding by Robbie Robertson changed his mind. I don't know these people. I'm sorry. I know a couple of the names. Spider-Man searched for Green Goblin, but when they fought again, he led the Goblin to the hospital to show him Harry. Norman fainted from the shock, so Spider-Man took him home while Norman's amnesia set back in. I think this is getting a little granular. It's getting a little in the weeds. I think kind of just the summary of like a drug story would have been just fine. but maybe for next time we can condense things a little bit. But I guess, yeah, the point is, at this point in the 80s, 70s, they tried to talk about stuff that was a little bit more than just Joker boners. Something that maybe would reflect and, get people to think a little bit. Like, you can't do drugs and stuff, and don't be a racist asshole. Stuff like that. The Department of Health, Education, and Welfare asked Marvel to publish a story about drug use in 1970 as part of an anti-drug campaign launched by the Nixon administration due to the increased use of psychedelic drugs. Amazing Spider-Man was popular amongst college students who were also major users of psychedelic drugs. They saw a potential to pass along a good message through comics. Stan Lee realized he shouldn't lecture readers, so he focused on the entertainment value of the story and avoided preaching. Marvel was worried the Comics Code Authority would have a problem with the story, so Lee met with them. They stood by their decision, saying that the depiction of drug use was immoral, and refused to approve the story's publication. Without approval from the CCA, the series was at risk of being canceled. Marvel could have also been expelled from the Comics Magazine Association of America. In 1998, Stan Lee said, "I could understand them. They were like lawyers." This whole time this music is like farting in my ear. Let's see. That's the Joker theme, so that makes sense why it would be farting. I could understand them. They were like lawyers, people who take things literally, technically. The code mentioned that you mustn't mention drugs, and according to their rules, they were right. So I didn't even get mad at them. I said, screw it. Just took the code seal off for those 3 issues. Then we went back to the code again. I never thought about the code when I was writing a story because basically I never wanted to do anything that was, to my mind, too violent or too sexy. I was aware that young people were reading these books, and had there not been a code, I don't think that I would have done these stories any differently. Martin Goodman gave Lee permission to release the story, and because it did so well, CAA loosened its restrictions on the depiction of drugs. So then, I'll tell you what, let me read this, and then I will do some reactions. We'll go through, I think we can go kind of quick. Let me sum it up. Hang on. Yeah, this is a little much. I think I might actually not. It's a heroin addiction issue they did, as you can see here. And if it happened to one of their heroes, it was really devastating. So they showed drug use. It was not just for bad people. That's what they were trying to do here. Yeah. It's a whole thing about like trying to stop the drugs because drugs bad and all that. And they did that. All right, let's do another complete tonal shift. Oh, there's a lot here actually. So this is 55 comics. 55 burgers and 55 fries, chat. So there's Alf. I'll show you a couple more. I'll save a couple for another time, perhaps, because, yeah, I think this is more than an hour of segment. Rockin' Bones and Screaming Skulls? The defeat of the Green Lantern. Some mysterious force is compelling me to make a sketch showing how Sonar will shatter me with his supersonic gun. Power Girl? Buy me, fanboy. And it's just ass. Superman featuring Orson Welles, star of Black Magic. The man who startled America does it again. Wow, they crossed over, even for Superman. Whoa, what the fuck? Superman, help me. These spacemen were jealous of my good looks, so they turned me into a human balloon, and they've given me ears like a mule. Poor Jimmy, these characters have altered his body the way red kryptonite alters mine. But there's no hope that he'll ever change back to his normal form again. Well, of course, I mean, he would return to normal. Featuring Jimmy Olsen, Freak. Oh my god. You want to eat me, huh? Eat this. Oh god. That's horrible. Yeah. Yeah. He's dead. The great Spider-Man is dead at last, and the Sandman killed him. Good killing comes easy to me, and I like it. I think he probably didn't die, but I would want to after that, probably. Star Trek X-Men. Really? This fucking happened? Star Trek Transformers. Really? This fucking happened? Another Riker turns into a monster episode. Elf Trek? Great faces right there. Florida Man versus Hogzilla. Oh my god. What the fuck kind of comic is this? The secret history of the war on weed. I know that name. Wait, Brian Posehn. That's the dude from Things. I've seen him in Things. Posehn? Wait, what the... Captain America. It's, Look at this guy. They made him like a literal fucking Nosferatu. There's a clown. What is going on? What the fuck is this? I love... It's like... What's going on here? You have a ringleader. You have... You know, just like this skeleton monster man, a fucking vampire, and a clown. Yeah, comics are fucking weird. Matrix Batman. Who will become the new Man of Steel? History is about to be rewritten by two aliens who can't spell. It's Bill and Ted, but Superman. It's Free Willy, but it's Aquaman. It's Elvis, but it's Harley Quinn. It's Alf, but it's Alf. Superman featuring the death of Superman. He died from being overexposed, but there's another Superman. Oh. Yeah, I think they did that in a movie, too. At last I've killed Superman. Man, they kill him a lot. Yeah, he just dies, like, constantly. The last days of Superman. What is it? I wonder if they had, like, marketing. Like, wow, we really sold a lot for that first time we killed Superman. Let's just keep killing him. This was actually kind of famous, if I'm not mistaken. This is the one that I remember growing up. It's like, the series is not doing so great for sales, so, you know, just kill him. And then bring him back. And then kill him. Rest in peace. And then bring him back, and then kill him again. Kind of Westworld. Is that Prince, but Batgirl? I don't know why this giant hog man is holding him. Huh. It's Chippendales, but superheroes. Who knew they had tattoos of their logo? Oh yeah, we saw that. Would they dare defy the primate platoon? Jesus fucking Christ. The Flying Gorilla Menace. What the fuck? The Amazing Trial of John Gorilla Doe. Boy, things got real surreal, huh? Lots of, Planet of the... I wonder if Planet of the Apes actually directly influenced some of this. I don't know, this could be interpreted as pleasure as well. I'm just saying. My secret identity is... Superman, you have sworn to tell the whole truth. Your real name must be on the blackboard. I wonder if the whole issue was just him figuring out a way to not write his real name there. The day Superman married. Boy, when you have to write an issue every month, you just kind of just start doing real weird shit. Oh good, Alf dies. Kiss. Printed in real Kiss blood. Oh yeah, I think I heard about that. I think they actually put some of their blood in the ink. Fucking gimmick. Giant-sized man thing. They don't even... Yeah, it's just a thing. The Goon. Sparkly vampires, are you fucking shitting me? Yeah, that's a Goon, alright. The Flintstones and Pebbles. Oh, that's a blizzard. Oh, no! Oh, no! World's Finest Comics. Funny. Good sight gag. The Prankster's Apprentice. Oh, I'm sure the Prankster was a difficult foe for Superman to defeat. And same for his apprentice. Great guns, I'm caught in a super trap by supervillains from the year 2000. Even my Superman powers can't help me escape. God, the year 2000. Superman's new powers. Oh, I think he can make people gay. That's fantastic. Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent are Batman, Superman. Well, yeah. DC Comics Green Lantern. That's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Oh, this is like, these are movie movie poster parodies. I get it. Mars Attacks. Beetlejuice. I'd recognize that shit-eating grin anywhere. Alf canceled. Good, he's dead and now he's canceled. Robert Redford. We looped. Some crazy stuff. Yeah, comics are fucking weird, huh? There's more frames. There's the dog welder who, you know, he just welds dogs to people's faces. You know, he just welds dogs to people's face. Garth Ennis, of course, and Steve Dillon, that's the Preacher combo right there. Hitman 18. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Dog Welder 2. He has a psychic connection to all other dog welders, of course, and can speak through dogs as puppets and harness their powers to weld stars together. Of course, Dog Welder. Nope, not reading that. No way. Soft Serve. She is not lactose intolerant, Soft Serve can poop ice cream. She has control over the flavors she produces and can poop pretty much all the different flavors of ice cream. At first, Bob Quinn stated that Soft Serve had very different plumbing than regular humans, but upon further consideration, Quinn decided that her body was instead a portal to the ice cream dimension. Of course. With pooping being a colloquialism for the bizarre location of the portal. Besides, it is likely Soft Serve doesn't even poop at all. Soft Serve has the most eatable ass in comics. Yeah, it's Mad Clown. Wait, I'm sorry. Diet Obama? There's a chameleon tries to impersonate him. I think. That seems to be what's happening here. I'm just reading it very, very quickly. They try to catch the imposter. So is that the imposter on the bottom right? Because let me tell you something, chat. I've seen white guys that look more like Obama than that dude. Jesus Christ. Vinny, read. Wait, hang on. I'm reading a little bit. Yeah, it's fine. Jesus Christ. Picture stories from the Bible New Testament #1. This character or object is an adaptation of Jesus, a character or object in traditional stories. These include but may not be limited to religious texts, myths, or folklore. Oh. And then he's in Marvel as well. So, yeah, Bible tales for young folk in 1953. This is a fictionalized version of Jesus, a first-century historical figure. The Magi who presented gifts to Jesus were in fact aliens who followed the Star of Bethlehem throughout the universe as it appeared before important events. In Immortal X-Men #1, Exodus implied that Jesus was a mutant despite having no proof or any way of knowing Jesus' actual status. I wonder if that made some people lose their goddamn minds. Like, some people were like, Jesus is a mutant. You fuck. The Wall. Spider-Man. So, yeah, he's a wall. And he's got the durability of concrete. And he can shrug off Spider-Man's blows without taking damage. Joshua Waldmeyer is a former student and part-time brick cement mason who became a living wall after a tragic construction accident. One day, while taking a day off to watch the Mets game, Spider-Man faced off against the wall. He was interfering with the game by knocking a player down and even knocking down the ump, Morgan Freeman. Wait, what? The Morgan Freeman? During the fight, Morgan Freeman got up and ejected both Spider-Man and the wall from the game, and they went to a nearby park bench to talk things out. Well, that's nice. An early form of clickbait. Remember some of those ridiculous covers you saw in the first pack? Like you said, this was actually an early form of clickbait, used to entice readers. Usually this was because of dwindling sales. So for a time they had no idea what to do with the Green Lantern, so they stuck him with Green Arrow because they're both green, I guess. But we got one of the most iconic covers pictured here. Yeah, that's fucking crazy, actually. They crucified the motherfucker. Wow. There's plenty of trends, tropes, and tricks, such as the end-of-series awareness trope, in which the series itself is aware of its imminent demise. For example, She-Hulk threatened to rip up X-Men comics if you didn't buy her book, then referenced it again when her series ended. However, there's one interesting trend when it comes to clickbait covers. Gorillas. And yeah, the Superman... Again, man, tonight is just a weird night for arm movements and the mustache and... Well, you know what? We're almost done. Fuck it. I didn't need sleep anyway. So here's a gorilla. I edited a comic called Strange Adventures, which normally sold pretty well. And then one day the editorial director came in and asked, "Hey, what happened to Strange Adventures?" "Why?" I inquired. "Well, why?" This is editor Julius Schwartz. "Why? Because it had a tremendous sale, that's why." So we decided to look at the cover for a clue to its success. It must have been that this idea, a gorilla who was once a man pleading with his girlfriend to help him out of this horrendous situation, appealed to our readers. We decided the magazine sold well because a gorilla was acting like a human being, so we decided to try it again. And every time we tried, it sold fantastically well, with sales shooting sky high. And thus, a trend was born. If you ever wondered why Superman fought both Ultra Humanite and Titano, the Super Ape, and the Flash fought Gorilla Grodd, this is why. Editorial director Erwin Donenfeld had this to say: "I followed every single magazine that we produced, and I was able to see how certain themes would sell. For example, I discovered that gorillas sell. We had gorilla covers on Star-Spangled War Stories or Wonder Woman. You name a magazine, we had a gorilla on it. And you know what happened? Sales exceeded our expectations." Johnny, put a gorilla in the thumbnail, please. It's even been reported that DC had to impose a gorilla limit and then break said limit because people were going ape for these comics. God. They were worried they'd ruin a winning formula, so there was an unwritten rule: no more than one gorilla cover per month across all of its titles, barring the occasional gorilla month. Wow. That's nuts. Okay. As you can see, we've come a long way from the moral panic that sparked the creation of the CCA. Creators and publishers fought bit by bit, year after year, to slowly peel back the optional censorship so they could create and publish whatever they wanted to. They wanted truly uncensored art and unfettered creativity. So, June 14th, 2021, Variety published an article about WandaVision, the Umbrella Academy and Harley Quinn animated series. You may have heard about this because the internet was in an uproar, and if you haven't, well, look to the right. Harley Quinn is also unique among the current crop of comic content in that its main character and all of her closest allies are villains rather than heroes in DC canon. That allows the show to do different things with the characters that heroes simply cannot do, at least according to DC. It's incredibly gratifying and free to be using characters that are considered villains because you just have so much more leeway, says Halpern. Perfect example is that in the third season of Harley, when we had a moment where Batman was going down on Catwoman, and DC was like, "You can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that." They're like, "Heroes don't do that." So we said, "Are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers?" They were like, "No, it's that we sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is going down on someone." Wow. If heroes don't perform oral sex, does that mean Green Arrow is not a hero? Click to advance. I might be able to knock one more, but first, I think I should pay a visit to Sherwood, my lady. Oh, good lord, Sherwood. This is getting too corny to... Oh, Mr. Hood, I can't speak for the men, but you sure are making me merry. Oh my god. You know, Green Lantern can just use his ring to create whatever shape he needs to. I just want to say. Okay, so listen, yeah, I skipped a little bit, but I enjoyed it overall. I learned some stuff. There were some heavy topics. There was some reality here, but you know what? Comic books do reflect reality, and that's how they wrote them. I thought it was really interesting, genuinely, and funny, too. There was some, like, really fucking funny stuff. I didn't, I feel like I knew about the gorilla thing at one point, but reading about it in that much detail, like, chat, I think I want to employ gorilla strats. Anyway, here's an anecdote from Adam West. So, what's your favorite memory of Frank Gorshin? He defined the role so well. Well, I think one of my favorite memories is that Frank and I were invited to a party one night. We decided to go. A Hollywood party we didn't know anything about. We were kind of laughing and having a few beers and said, let's get over there. We walked in and it was an orgy. So I immediately went into the Batman character and Frank went into the Riddler character because we were getting big giggles. It was so funny to us, what we walked into, and we were kicked out. We were expelled from the orgy. Thanks, Joey. Thanks, everybody that contributed. I would say for educational segments, just in the future, as much as I enjoyed that, sum it up as much as you can. Like some stuff, if it gets too in the weeds, it can be a little tough for me. I'm trying my best to read it, but also understand it. And then, the audience can get lost too. I get a little lost. So, this goes for anyone who's making a pack. I've even, had people sum things up a little bit more and just kind of just tighten the graphics on level 4 a bit. And it works. It really helps. But it is an interesting world. I'm not much of a comic reader. I read, like I said, some Grant Morrison. Maybe it was The Pride of Baghdad. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, whatever it was. And then also I read some Garth Ennis and Watchmen back in the day. I read it's like a little bit Walking Dead, not much. I wasn't a huge comic fan. I wasn't really into the superhero stuff. Just a little bit. But it was good. Some of it was good. But it's interesting learning about this because it is something that was really important to the culture. We didn't really have video games. I mean, in the 70s we had a little bit, and kind of sucked. TV was still kind of not great. It was a little bit dry most of the time, especially for kids. So if you and myself and all the people watching were born in 1910 or 1920 or 1930, chances are we'd be reading comics. Someone said you did yourself a disservice by reading Garth Ennis. Hey, man, you know, I read Preacher. I liked it back in the day. I haven't read in about 15 to 16 years. But if I liked the thing at the time, then I liked it. But, the other stuff I read was good too. I read Why the Last Man. I liked that one too. But yeah, I guess superhero stuff really wasn't for me. And the movies, I watch one once in a while, and that's good enough. So, all right. Radio shows were popular. Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah. All right, chat. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and goodbye. You may leave. I will jingle the keys. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for people who contribute to Sunday Stream. If you have a Sunday Stream idea, and trust me, there's a lot, and I'm not going to get to everybody's Sunday streams. There's been a lot of educational segments that have been submitted. Too many, in fact. I can't get to them. But if you have like a game you're aware of, or if you have an idea for a segment, submit.vinesauce.com. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a good night. And see you during the week for more Tamagotchi Life and a couple other weird games I have. Goodbye.